Okay, what's good? What did I wanna talk about this week? Well, to be fair, it doesn't even matter. But yeah, this week, what did I do? Last weekend, last weekend actually, because it's the 14th today. I think. Basically, last last weekend, I was out in Manchester to see a mate. He relocated there for half a year. It was like a quick weekend getaway thing. And then it turned out there's a boxing fight there as well. Caterhall versus Eubank. And it's a matchroom event. And I managed to grab some tickets from a connect of mine, which I recently connected with maybe a month or two ago, which is dope. So I got to bring my mates and go to the event last minute, and it was a dope fight. Didn't end the way I wanted it to end because the referee stopped it because the Caterhall and Eubank had a nasty cut. Caterhall had a nasty cut, and Eubank also had a cut. I think it was like they were like in the mid rounds. Yeah, so the referee called it off, which is annoying because it was catching fire and I wanted to, see it go to the 12th round or not. But yeah, that was dope. And what else happened this week? Honestly, not much. Yeah, not much, honestly. I mean, I've got recurring clients for Gverse, which is great. It's always good when you have recurring clients coming back, because that means whatever you're doing right. And yeah, I've just been thinking, honestly, this last week. It's like there are opportunities there, but it's like I'm not gonna wait around. I'm not gonna wait around for these opportunities to come and choose me, and weigh the pros and the cons and whatnot. I'm just gonna move on, and if you're too late, you're too late. And I just need to get back to creating, honestly. I think now that I know what I need to be doing and how I need to be positioning myself, and it's also a great time for me to get my fitness together, being more active. I've been doing good being active in the past month. Yeah, because man, I swear, like the past year, I don't think I've done anything remotely active. Like for me, I have those periods where I don't do anything, active, because life is just fucking lifing, and then I could just switch it like that and be like intense with it for like half a year, and then it goes back to zero. So I'm trying to just build the discipline again, have that routine, because I've done this before, being active and then balancing my creative ventures, my work, client work, and whatnot. But now it's just honing in again and making sure the routine sticks, because health is wealth, man. Without your health being on point, then it doesn't matter if you're building $1 million business or you're doing all these things that will be cut short once fall ill and your health just declines. So whilst I'm still young, I'm building a routine. Whilst I'm in this chaos of a storm that I'm navigating in terms of like my career, life, my creative ventures, and financial debts and whatnot. But yeah, no, honestly, like the reality of navigating and building your dreams, right? Not one there is no blueprint, and not one journey looks the same. Because I remember 5 years ago when I started my journey, I would look at Virgil Abloh, I would look at Samuel Ross, I would look at Ruigi, I would look at like Jay-Z's, the Kanye Wests, how they came up, what they did, studying, their come up. But then what I realized is I can try and mimic the process that they did, but then what worked for them is specific to them. So what worked for them won't necessarily work for me, and what works for me won't necessarily work for them. So I think it's what I've realized is I need to step back, see what my strengths are, what am I really good at, what are my weaknesses, and lean heavily on my strengths. And I think my strengths are I'm super creative and I can do a lot with zero to minimum funding. I started a brand with minimum funding. I started projects with minimal creative projects with minimal funding, and managed to get motion, managed to get attention. But the only caveat is there was a lack of consistency. So one thing would work, and then I would pivot, and then it would seem that I would start from zero again. But then it's just because the vision matures and develops to the point that whatever was working will no longer work for when I pivot. So then I have to go and, go into that trial and error and then see what works until the next pivot. Yeah, I think being on this entrepreneur journey or path, it's all really about trial and error, and then knowing when to pivot and staying in the game for as long as you can. Because what separates me from the ones that succeeded, they've had a longer runway. They've had a longer runway, they've stayed longer in the game, and they stayed long enough to see the results. So I just need to stay in the fight. I need to stay in the pocket, find what works, and go to the distance. Because essentially being an entrepreneur, it's all about going that distance. It's not like a sprint, it's more of a marathon, a 12-round fight, you know, as opposed to like, a 3-round amateur bout. So I think for me, even in my current circumstances of, working at part-time on a bar job in central London, doing client work when the opportunity presents itself, and also job hunting, and then also just navigating life in general, on top of all the other things that I'm juggling. I think it's yeah, you gotta stay in the game, and you gotta be optimistic, man. I'm very optimistic. So even if what I'm trying to build seems impossible, especially having little connection to the industries that I'm going to be, dominating in the near future, it doesn't matter to me. It all starts with a seed. You plant the seed, and then you give it the nutrients it needs. You nurture it. Hey, yo, chill. These kittens, man. They're like 12 weeks now. They're running around having the zoomies, and they're like bumping into the camera, the tripod. But it is what it is. But yeah, you gotta nurture and let the seed grow in its own pace. You can't really rush greatness. You can't really rush for a seed to grow and bear fruit within the span of a day. Some may take months, some might take years, some may take decades. And for me, I'm just finding out. I'm 5 years into my journey. Actually, more of 4 years, approaching five. I've made many pivots, hella pivots, too many pivots. But then when I step back and really analyze and look through the in between the lines, it makes sense why I did what I did, and that just separates me as an individual, you know, and that's what makes me stand out. My unique sort of background, my unique approach, my unique journey, my unique experiences that I carry, that which altogether would mold the empire that I am building. But yeah, no, it is quite tough, when you're in the trenches. When things doesn't seem to be going your way, things aren't going, nothing's going your way, and you try to do as many things to sort of correct or make things work, but nothing's working. But that's just when you just have to, like, you know what, fuck it, man, I'm gonna keep going regardless if I'm not seeing results right now. And the great thing about just sharing the journey is I get to capture my growth, like my mindset, how I solve the problems, how I manage my emotions and whatnot. I'm not the best at managing my emotions when shit hits the fan, but the more I experience these trial and error, the more I get the chance to practice managing my emotions, managing problem solving and whatnot, and all these other shit that comes with building an empire and walking the entrepreneurial path. But yeah, I think I just for me, I just wanted to, I just want to start seeing results, whether it be through the job hunting or through the client work, through the pitching, blah blah blah. Because I'm also at that point in my life where I would like to have some stability, and then because with that stability, I can then build the foundations, and move accordingly, and not worry about job hunting or salary or paying debts and all that shit. But then again, you can only focus on focus on one thing at a time. So right now, that's what I tried to do. But the mind, you can't help the mind sort of spiral from time to time, trying to solve every problem all at once. But I think that's just navigating the entrepreneurial path, man. It's not glamorous, and it's definitely not pretty all the time. And yeah, like no one really talks about this part, the middle part where shit's hard, man. You're sort of, you might feel like stagnant, like I said, like you nothing's working and you're just here. And it feels like you're stuck there for eternity. And that's what I feel. It's like, and also it's I'm outgrowing the space that I'm in. Like I've mentioned this metaphor before about a butterfly or a caterpillar in a cocoon, and then the the caterpillar obviously transforming and struggling inside this cocoon, this tight space. It's outgrowing the cocoon in a faster pace, right? And it's struggling, but then at the same time, that struggle is what's what gives it strength. What gives it strength to break free and then transform into a butterfly. But I'm currently in that cocoon. I haven't yet transformed into a butterfly. And when you're in there, it just feels like an eternity. It's like never ending. It's like, yo, when does this shit stop? Like, when does the discomfort stop? Like, in my mind, I've outgrown everything. But physical wise, everything is still so tight and compact, and I'm unable to move, to shift. But yeah, man, that's just the reality of it right now at this very moment. And even thinking about like London, right? Like the state of the economy in the UK, and just how the job market's so terrible. And then also like the living costs is very high, but then the average salary is very low. And it seems like it's just monetarily it's a terrible place to be building an empire. That's why I'm thinking of like, yo, America, Los Angeles, New York, those areas where the cost of living is as high as London, but the salaries there is doubled or tripled. And of course, like the healthcare and whatnot. But when you really put it into perspective, what you're able to get in the US compared to the UK, it's so much more. And I know there's a lot of pros and cons. With America, it's very heavy on the American dream. They're happily support anyone with a big vision and has that entrepreneurial spirit. And in London is a bit different. They're a bit like, oh, let's stay, follow suit. Let's not, let's be average. I was like, they don't dare to dream big. I mean, obviously there are people that do dream big, and there are communities, but in general, like most people would rather conform. And I'm not that type of person, man. I want big, I want grand, I want just fucking grand. And America is that. And especially me wanting to build pioneers of greatness, bridging boxing and fashion. Yes, the fashion part, Europe, the UK, that's there. That's where the hub is. But when we're talking about boxing, that's all in the Americas, man. It's just the North Americas, the South Americas. They heavily dominate boxing. But it's shifting. You have the Japan market rising, of course, the British market too. But in terms of entrepreneurship, I think America is just the best place for it. And I do have family out there, so me thinking of trying out going there, living there for a couple of years, that's like an option for me right now. And I've always wanted to live there and see if it's something that I consider living, but I won't know unless I try. So that's definitely in the bucket list in the coming future. And I mean, most of my client work, a good percentage of them, they're from the US. So I have a network there that I've built. It's not huge, but it's enough to get my foot in the ground and start, building if I'm already, if I relocate. But I'll see where life takes me, but I think right now I'll just have to focus on, landing a job and whatnot and building my empire brick by brick. But yeah, man, this is the reality of it, man. It's not all glitter and gold. It's not like, oh, it's so fun, I'm building this, building that. Nah, man, this shit hard, real hard. And if you don't have the stamina to endure, the shit part, then you're not gonna reach the part where you reap what you sow, or you fucking, yeah, literally why it said reap what you sow. But yeah, I think that's it, man. It's just the same shit, different week, same grind, putting in that work nonstop. No, nonstop, but you know what I'm saying. We'll keep showing up, keep pushing, and that's it from me, man. I'm out. Peace.